Something big is happening in global trade. China and Mexico are creating closer ties than ever before. This new connection is being called an alliance by some experts. But what does that really mean? Simply put, China and Mexico are working together more closely than they used to. They are signing new trade deals, starting joint business projects. Their leaders are meeting more often, talking about the future. This new partnership could change how trade works in North America. The United States, which sits right between these two giant economies, could feel the effects in many ways. That's why so many people are paying attention to this story. You might wonder, why are China and Mexico getting so close right now? There are a few big reasons. China wants to sell more goods in North America. Mexico wants to attract more investment. Mexico wants to attract more jobs. Both countries see benefits in working together. China has factories. China has technology. Mexico has low labor costs. Mexico is close to the United States. By teaming up, they hope to make products faster and cheaper. This matters because the United States is still the world's biggest economy. Any change in the flow of goods can ripple through prices and jobs. Let's look at some real examples. In the past year, several Chinese car companies have opened factories in northern Mexico. They are building electric vehicles and shipping them across the border to the United States. There are also new partnerships in electronics and solar power. Chinese companies are investing in Mexican plants to make chips, batteries, and solar panels. These products are then labeled Made in Mexico and sold in the United States. For Mexico, that means jobs and investment. For China, it helps avoid some tariffs and taxes. Working together, both hope to win. So, what does this new alliance mean for trade? It could change the whole map of how goods move in North America. Right now, many products are made in China. They're shipped directly to the United States. But that's getting harder. Trade wars, tariffs. With this alliance, Chinese companies can set up in Mexico. They build products there, then ship them to the United States under trade rules that favor Mexican exports. This is called nearshoring. Mexico could become a bigger player, with more goods crossing than ever. Some U.S. companies may even move to Mexico to keep up. American companies are watching this alliance closely. Some are worried about new competition from products made in Mexico with Chinese technology. They fear losing sales or having to lower prices. Others, though, see a chance to partner with Mexican firms, with Chinese firms. Some are already moving their own factories to Mexico to save money and stay close to customers in the United States. Big companies like Ford, GM, and Tesla are rethinking their supply chains. They want to keep costs low and respond quickly to customers. From the halls of Congress to the White House, the economic partnership between China and Mexico is being watched with intense scrutiny. The U.S. government is taking this alliance very seriously, viewing it as a significant challenge to American economic strategy. This isn't a partisan squabble. Concern is growing on both sides of the aisle about a new, sophisticated phase in the economic competition with Beijing. At the heart of the concern is the suspicion that China is using Mexico as a strategic backdoor into the North American market. The U.S. has imposed significant tariffs to counter unfair trade practices, but leaders in Washington worry that China is finding clever ways around them. By establishing manufacturing plants just south of the border, Chinese companies can finish their products in Mexico. This allows them to label their goods as Made in Mexico, qualifying for preferential treatment under the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, and bypassing hefty import duties. This has ignited a fierce debate in Washington. Some lawmakers are calling for stricter rules of origin to ensure a product is genuinely made in North America before it gets tariff-free access. Others argue for a more proactive approach, wanting to support American companies directly with tax incentives and R&D investment, empowering them to out-innovate and out-compete foreign rivals. The debate has become so serious that there are even talks of a more drastic measure, reopening the USMCA itself. This is the cornerstone trade deal between the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. Altering it would have massive repercussions, but the agreement's scheduled 2026 review is seen by many as a critical opportunity to insert new provisions to counter this kind of tariff evasion. However, not everyone sees this as purely adversarial. Some officials see a chance for deeper collaboration, arguing the U.S. should work with Mexico to create an integrated North American manufacturing powerhouse. This nearshoring strategy could bring more high-quality jobs to the continent. The challenge is immense. It's a delicate diplomatic dance. Help American workers, stay friendly with Mexico, and deal with China, all at once. the decisions made now could reshape North America's economy for decades. So, what does this shift really mean for the average American? The answer isn't simple. This evolving trade relationship with Mexico creates a complex economic picture, with opportunities for some and significant challenges for others. To understand the full impact, we need to look at both sides of the coin. On the positive side, consumers could see direct benefits. Producing goods closer to home saves on shipping costs compared to transporting them from Asia. These savings, combined with favorable trade agreements, can make goods more affordable. Proximity also speeds up the supply chain. Instead of waiting weeks for a container ship, goods can arrive by truck or rail in days, meaning faster delivery and more resilient supply lines. This shift also unlocks growth for American businesses. As Mexico's manufacturing sector expands, it demands more American components and machinery, boosting U.S. exports. This economic activity translates into job creation, especially in logistics and transportation. The truck drivers, warehouse managers, and supply chain analysts needed to manage this flow of goods will be in high demand. These are often higher-skilled jobs, concentrated in border states like Texas and Arizona, becoming crucial hubs in this new trade landscape. However, this realignment comes with a painful downside: the loss of American manufacturing jobs. For decades, communities in the industrial Midwest have seen their economic base shrink as companies moved production overseas. Nearshoring to Mexico could accelerate this trend for certain industries. When a U.S. factory closes and relocates, it's a devastating blow to workers and the local economy. The pressure isn't just from American companies moving, it also comes from foreign competitors setting up shop in Mexico to gain tariff-free access to the U.S. market. This means remaining U.S. factories must compete with lower labor costs right next door. For the American factory workers who remain, this intense competition can put downward pressure on wages and benefits, weakening job security. Ultimately, this isn't a single national story. The impact is a mosaic, with different outcomes depending on your profession and zip code. A logistics manager in a border state might see a boom, while a consumer enjoys lower prices. But for an assembly line worker in the Midwest, this same shift could represent a profound threat to their livelihood. It's a complex trade-off. The China-Mexico alliance might sound distant, but it could touch your life in surprising ways. The car you drive, the phone you use, the solar panels on your roof. More of these could soon say, "Made in Mexico," but have Chinese roots. New brands in stores, electronics labeled "Made in Mexico," cars at dealerships. Some prices could fall, other prices might rise if American companies struggle. Near the border, more trucks, more warehouses, maybe more jobs. In big cities, more competition for tech and factory jobs. For most, change will be slow but steady. The announcement of the China-Mexico alliance sent shockwaves across the globe, igniting a firestorm of debate. From Washington to Wall Street and in communities across the country, people have many and often conflicting opinions about what this new partnership will mean for the future. On one side, many economists and strategists see a strategic advantage. They argue that combining Mexico's manufacturing base with Chinese capital creates a powerful North American economic bloc. This integration, they believe, will build more resilient supply chains, less dependent on Asia. The potential upside? A stronger continental economy, better equipped to compete on the world stage and foster innovation at home. However, this optimism is met with deep skepticism. Labor unions and manufacturing advocates fear an accelerated exodus of good American jobs, drawn south by lower costs. They paint a picture of hollowed-out industrial towns. Beyond the economic fallout, national security experts are sounding the alarm. They worry this alliance gives China an unprecedented foothold in America's backyard, creating dependencies that could be exploited and raising serious concerns about intellectual property theft. In the corporate world, boardrooms are buzzing. Business leaders are redrawing supply chain maps, planning for a future where continental partnerships are paramount to capitalize on this new reality. Meanwhile, in Washington, a fierce debate is raging. Policymakers are grappling with a monumental challenge: how to protect American workers without resorting to protectionism that could stifle growth, weighing everything from tariffs to new domestic investment incentives. For most people, these high-level debates translate into personal hopes and fears. Many are cautiously optimistic, hearing the promise of more affordable consumer goods and new jobs in logistics to support this trade ecosystem. But for every person who sees opportunity, another feels deep unease. They worry about their job security, the future of their communities, and the broader implications of such a seismic shift in the global order. Amidst this complex tapestry of opinions, one thing is clear: the China-Mexico alliance is a paradigm shift, rewriting the rules of global trade. The United States now stands at a critical juncture, forced to adapt its economic strategies and its vision for the future. The path forward is uncertain, but what is certain is that the American economy and our place in the world will never be the same.